الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. We discussed the last discussion about the masaf muhazat. If a woman stand next to a man and there's no barrier between them and they're following the same imam, the same salah, and it is a salat of ruku and it's a salat of sajda, that means it's not janaza salat, and the imam is made niyat for them, then what will happen? This will nullify the salat of the man, and we gave the reasoning and the rationale, right? And in the last part of the text, we also done there also that that is it necessary for the imam to have intention of the woman? Then there we done that part there also that according to some ulama they say that if the imam is if a woman is standing next to a man, then there is need for the intention. But if she's standing far behind, there's no need for the intention because then it doesn't affect the salat of the imam in any way. So it's no problem if they stand far behind. Are you with me? Right. Then, yeah, okay, we're going to read a new lesson today. Bismillah. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. ويكره لهن حضور الجماعات يعني الشواب من هنا لما فيه من خوف الفتنة. It is makruh for them. يعني for who? لهن, for the women. حضور الجماعة, to be present for the jama'at salat. يعني الشواب, يعني for the young ladies, right? من هنا, right, from the young, from amongst the ladies. لما فيه من خوف الفتنة, because of the fear of fitna that is in there, right? Because of the fear of fitna. So in other words, what he's saying is that young ladies, or those that are considered young, it is not correct for them to go to the masjid to perform the salah. So the first question will come to your mind, yes, but we know in the time of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the ladies used to go to the masjid, etc., etc. So why we are not allowing them? So the answer is pretty simple. The ulama, the fuqaha, in fact, forget about the ulama, the fuqaha, even as Aisha Siddiqa, who is one of the greatest muftiyas of this ummah, she said, لو علم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. So when as Umar radiallahu ta'ala stopped the ladies from going to the masjid, he said, لو علم النبي ما علم عمر ما أذن لكن في الخروج. That if Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam had to see what Umar is seeing today, right, with what is happening about the ladies dressing up, going to the masjid, etc. لو علم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم علم عمر ما أذن لكن في الخروج, he wouldn't permit for them to go to the masjid. In other words, because of the taghayyur zaman. This is similar to another masala, like I told you. Remember, I told you in the Hanafi madhab, strictly speaking, the face is not the awrah. In the Hanafi madhab, strictly speaking, the face is not the awrah. But our ulama mentioned because of fasad zaman, because of the fasad zaman, because things change with the passage of time, right? Then, because of that, ulama have changed their fatwa. Ulama have changed their fatwa and they said now it is wajib to cover the face. So the face is still not aura. It is still not aura. It doesn't remain aura, but it is wajib for an external reason, and that is the fear of fitna. Are you with me? So this is something similar to this, that the fatwa changed because of the changing of the circumstances. So one was I told you was the statement of the Aisha Siddiqa. She said, لو علم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ما عمل عمر ما أذن لكن في الخروج. If Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam knew what as the Umar knows what he's seeing today, then he wouldn't allow the woman to come to the masjid. So it was Umar radiallahu ta'ala who, sorry, it was who was most knowledgeable with the mizaj, who was most knowledgeable with the temperament of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Aisha Siddiqa, she spent her twilight years in his company, so obviously she knew exactly. So there's a riwayat in Bukhari Sharif. So on this subject also there are complete books written, etc., proving our opinion, but we were just mentioning briefly here. لو أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, if Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم رأى ما أحدث النساء, like to see what the woman أحدث النساء have done بعدهن, after you, in other words, right, لمنعهن, then he would have prevented them كما منعت نساء بني إسرائيل, like how the women folk of Bani Israel were prevented from the masjid, right? So that's also the fatwa of the Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu ta'ala anha. So if anybody wants to dispute and want to say, who are you to stop the woman from coming to the masjid, then they need to dispute with the greatest muftiya of this ummah, which was Hazrat Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu ta'ala anha. Right, okay, carry on reading. So, so here the next ibarat says, وَلَا بَعْثَ لِلْعَجُوزِ أَن تَخْرُجَ فِي الْفَجْرِ وَالْمَغْرِبِ وَالْعِشَاءِ. There is no problem, right, for the elderly, right, right, أن تخرج, that she comes out of Fajr, Maghrib and Isha. So in other words, when it is dark, they can come out, because normally, now remember in the time of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, etc., there was no lights in it. So people who would sleep early, the mischief mongers, the street urchins, etc., they would retire early to bed, etc. So, wala ba'sa, there's no problem for the elderly that she comes out at the time of Fajr, Maghrib, and Isha. But now again, we need to qualify, because, in today's days and age, what they say, 60 is the new 50, right? What they say, 60 is the new 50. When we were, I can tell you for a fact, when we were growing up, right? When we were growing up, if a person was 60 years old, man, that person was considered to be an old person, right? And if a person was 70 years old, that person was considered to be extremely old person. But if you look at some of the 70-year-old people today, then you say this person is still young. So if you look at some of the 60-year-old people today, maybe you look at, not say you must look at the woman, but if you see sometimes a 60-year-old woman with her makeup and with her lipstick and all that type of thing, you won't say this is an old person, you think this is a young person. So, when we say old here, it's a relative issue as well, right? So you can say, غير مشتهى, like how, we done the masla of the muhazat, the girl that is mushtaha, that she would be desirable in the eyes of people. If she stands next to you, then that will nullify the salah. So same thing here, we say that a woman that is that age, or she's so elderly, then nobody will want to desire. Although they say, there's a saying in Arabic, لِكُلِّ سَاقِطَةٍ لَاقِطَةٌ. What? لِكُلِّ سَاقِطَةٍ لَاقِطَةٌ. For everything that falls down, everything that falls, there's someone to pick it up. So sometimes even if you take a dry piece of bread and you throw it there, a hungry person will come and person will pick it up because that person is hungry. So sometimes maybe to you the lady looks like she's old and she's cold, but to another person she's not old, whatever, right? So here, wala ba'sa lil ajuzi, there is no problem lil ajuzi, for the elderly lady, an takhruja, that she comes out fil fajri, for fajr salah, wal maghribi, and comes for maghrib, wal isha, and she comes out for isha, right? وهذا عند أبي حنيفة, this is the opinion according to Imam Abu Hanifa رحمه الله تعالى. وقال لا يخرجنا في الصلاة كلها, but صاحبين, that is Imam Abu Yusuf and Muhammad, say لا يخرجنا في الصلوات كلها, she will not come out in all the salah, right? What you got? You got what? Oh, sorry. وقال يخرجنا, you got it, okay. So صاحبين says no, the old lady, and again I told you now, a couple of years ago, you say 6 years old, but in today's age, I will tell you emphatically, 60 years old. Nowadays, you find a 60 years old still in the gym, very gymming, right? So, وَقَالَ يَخْرُجْنَا فِي الصَّلَاةِ كُلِّهَا. So Sahibain said that the elderly lady can come for all the salat, but the fatwa is not on this. Why? لأنه لا فتنة لأنه because لا فتنة, there is no test, there's no trial. لِقِلَّةِ الرَّغْبَةِ, because of the paucity of inclination towards her. In other words, here he's saying that if a lady is old, who's going to want to interfere with her? Who's going to want to look at her? It's قِلَّةُ الرَّغْبَةِ فَلَا يُقْرَهُ. So it will not be makruh for her. So according to Sahibain, the elderly lady can come out for all salats, daylight salats and night salat. فَلَا يُقْرَهُ كَمَا فِي الْإِيدِ. So it is not makruh like how it is in Eid. So they say like how it, like, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam encouraged all the ladies to come out at the time of Eid. And the reason there why he encouraged the ladies to come out at the time of Eid for Salat was because in the initial stages of Islam, this is our answer also, the Muslims were very, very few. The Muslims were very, very few. So to show the strength of the Muslims, to show that the Muslims are a lot, etc., etc., that is why they were permitted to come. So here, in the next text now, we're going to do the proof of Hazrat Imam Hanifa. وَلَهُ أَنَّ ثَرَةَ الشَّبَقِ حَامِلٌ فَتَقَعُ الْفِتْنَةُ. Right? So Hazrat Imam Abu Hanifa, rahimahullah ta'ala, says, okay, let's stop there, inshallah, with two. We just got a bit delayed today. We'll continue probably Monday. We're going to switch over to the tafsir now. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanakallah wa bihamdika.